Hey,
I'm back. I'm there.
lads.
Time travel.
Friday mornings are for the boys, the 80s boys. So, thank you very much for coming out with this theme. I'm having a lot of fun with it. We've got the vinyls going on as well. Very authentic. We just had old mate, the Gazza Moore, as he's known to his friends. The Wild Frontier album. That was, as I say, the Loner. All right, let's move on. I've got a question for you. I ask these type of questions with every guest each week. It's because I'm too lazy to think up new questions each week, but that might play a part in it. But I've got certain things that I'm trying to figure out that I like to pick your brain on. So today, the Marston music scene. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what Marston has done right in the past and in previous music. That's the same thing. And the past music scenes and how we might go about rebuilding it again or supporting it in the digital age. So, you were definitely part of a music scene back in the day?
I was. So what's amazed me is there's always been a lot of musicians come out of the Wairarapa. And when we, as a young bunch of 17, 18-year-olds joined up, there was already a number of really successful bands. You look at the K-Band and bands like that have been around for decades. And those older musicians looked after us, and we got to the stage where there's probably 10, 12 bands playing, and we'd team up, and we'd play in all the local halls. A lot of them aren't around anymore, but the Park Vale Hall's still there. The Wairarapa Hall, where St Seb's is now, was the Masonic Hall.
Yes.
And we would team together and have 2 or 3 bands do a night.
Yep. So that was because, I talked to Jordan last week about this, Jordan Treadray, and he was predominantly part of the King Street music scene, which was a whole nother thing, but that was really good. They had a hub, like a natural hub, like a really good venue that was like internationally recognised as a fantastic smaller venue. But obviously you guys didn't have that, so you utilised what you did have. What I kind of gather, and I could be wrong, is in the 80s there wasn't quite as much stuff to do. There wasn't Netflix, so you tended to get a little more support from your average Joe.
So live music was huge, but you'd plan it and book it, and you'd put flyers out and you'd make tickets. And the Wainoa Hall, which is by where the big roundabout is going in now, was one of the most used halls. But where next to the Copthorne, where Cobb & Co was a pub with a big stage, and that was sort of like the hub. So we had a thing called the Wairarapa Musicians Club, and we met once a month, and everyone brought their gear, and we all jammed together, and we met different people, and a lot of bands were started from that. A lot of people met each other, and that's carried on. So you'll remember in about 2010, at the old Golden Chairs, there was an open mic night set up.
Yes, yeah.
And you got involved then. Chris, actually, I'll tell you this, folks, you heard it first. Chris is a 12, 13-year-old, wrote his own song and came second in an open mic. Big competition that went over weeks and weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't even allowed in the pub, probably, so...
His irresponsible father took him.
Yes, it was good. We came third, which was a nice ego booster at a young age. And we had Shay, did really well, and I can't remember...
Daniel, the guy, looked like Kurt Cobain.
Oh, yes, yeah. Man, what's he up to these days?
I saw him busking in Wellington a while back. But
oh, yeah, that was always... He really always went for it, which I respected.
He was Kurt Cobain, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Marston's Kurt Cobain.
He was.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm super interested in, is that kind of drive to put stuff in front of people's faces often. And I wasn't even aware of that monthly... What was that called again?
Just the Wairarapa Musicians Club.
It's unfortunately, especially since King Street, I feel that the Marston music scene has kind of fragmented a bit. Like, we don't have connections, like definitely not anything like that anymore. Not to say that it's not possible, I just don't think it's been set up, and I don't think there's been buy-in from the musicians.
But if you have a hub like King Street, I felt the same vibe.
Yeah, totally.
And King Street was starting to get a lot of connections, but when that died,
yeah,
it fell. But there's a number of musicians out there in the community who are looking to try and establish another one. So
that's what I'm trying to just start the communication on that now. So I'm going to have different people. Like I said, I had Jordan last week, had Ryan Coles 2 weeks before,
Yep.
have you on, who are different perspective, because we never had to tour halls or anything when we were coming up. We had King Street, so that made it way easier. And they treated us so well, and people came out for that. That was ideal, but we can't rely on that because there was an anomaly, really, a small town having a place like that.
It was.
So we kind of, like you guys had with the pub, what was it, the Horseshoe?
The Horseshoe.
Yeah.
No, not the Horseshoe, the Homestead.
Homestead. Something along those lines as a kind of hub, and then utilising the halls like the Park Vale Hall or something would probably be good. And in the social media age, this is once again what kind of chatted about last week, is it's not quite enough to just put stuff on anymore, which is because there's so much to do. Like you like I said before, you're competing against Netflix, like a warm house and Netflix. Do you want to actually go out? So if you drum up, if there was like a hub, a social media page which would drum up excitement for the weekend of like, hey, so-and-so's playing in Featherston on Sunday or something, maybe drop a video of them, get people hyped up. That was kind of that, and a billboard on, this is Jordan's idea, that and have a billboard where all the traffic jams are at the moment, because
Plenty of those.
you definitely get eyes on that. But that's out of the box thinking that and I'll add, you're utilising the fact that we have those halls.
You can't beat a gig in a hall with 2 or 3 bands.
Yeah.